And the geopolitical situation is probably the most complicated and dangerous since World War II. If you look at the kind of the nexus of the Ukraine war, 300,000 Russian troops invaded a free democratic nation on the border of NATO, threatening nuclear blackmail. It's never happened in history. Educating the world that maybe have a nuclear weapon, you can kind of take advantage of your neighbors. It's affected all global relationships. Then you have the terrorist activity in Israel, which is now a little bit of a powder keg in the Middle East. We hope these things resolve, but a lot of wars that go on for a year or two can last for 10, and they can have somewhat unpredictable outcomes. But it's also affecting oil, gas, trade, all military relationships, and you can see it strengthening some of America's military allies, and also our relationship with China. I think that relationship is very complicated. It's made more complicated because we're kind of on different sides when it comes to Ukraine. So this is a situation you got to be careful about. The world order after World War II, Bretton Woods, WTO, trade, UN, et cetera, is kind of being challenged. And if this doesn't go the right way, you can easily see a world that kind of goes more to a little bit of chaos as people realign allies, relationships, et cetera. I'm a little surprised that things haven't gotten worse for oil and gas. People flying drones and satellites and blowing up Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. It doesn't take a lot to send oil and gas prices back to 120 or higher. If that happens, it's bad for the climate, all the climate folks, because everyone turns back on their coal plants, poor nations and rich nations, but it's terrible for poor countries. As you know, a lot of these countries are kind of struggling a little bit already, and so we have a dangerous situation here. And it's far more important than whether the economy does a little bit better or a little bit worse this year or next year. I don't even like talking about them in the same breath, because one is about the future of the free world, one is about something we're all used to, the weather. Things get better and things get worse in the economy, and most of us have dealt with that before.
But speaking about the danger to the free world, there's increasing concern about the axis, Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. Yeah. And you're dealing in that world, and you're dealing with companies that deal in that world. Yeah. What are you telling them?
I think, if Russia wins or in any way wins in Ukraine, you probably will have a splintering apart, and maybe even a testing of NATO, and that's really dangerous. And so, obviously we have to navigate the risk. We have some risk still in Russia. We have obviously a lot of risk in China. But I think the best thing with China is that we should engage tough, open-eyed. America should remember it's in a very good position relative to China. We have all the food, water, and energy we need. We've got the most prosperous nation on the planet, 80,000 per person GDP. They actually import 11 million barrels of oil a day, and about half go the Strait of Hormuz or through the Red Sea. So they're, past American warships, by the way. They don't have enough food or enough water. They still have 400 million people living in poverty, a GDP of $15,000, not $80,000. We still have more innovation. They're catching up, and we shouldn't be against that. They have terrible demographics. So my view is we should fully engage with them. Obviously, we should protect ourselves on anything around national security, like semiconductors or rare earths, et cetera. But, we should engage, and for the betterment of the world. There's no reason other than Taiwan that we have to have adversarial relations with them. I don't normally do this in my letter, the best thing to protect the United States is to have the strongest military. And if anyone thinks that the world is a safe place, I hope you now have lost that notion. It's not, it never will be. And we kind of forget, we got lulled into a false sense of security because we had an easy couple of years or something like that. So, and then we got to grow our economy. That's the best way to handle everything, like our burgeoning deficit, and to get more income to lower income Americans, and things like that, is to grow the economy. And so I talk a lot about having growth policies.